Hi, this is a short demonstration of the latest Ferrograph that I'll be selling on eBay. Um, just wanted to show you around it. When I bought this, it's an ex-BBC model and it had a lot of mods done to it, a lot of things taken off of it, knobs missing, it wasn't working. It's in a bit of a state actually, and I've spent about 4 days doing it up. At the moment it's outside of the case. I've got the case here. I need to put that back. As you see, it's got BBC sticker on it. The case is in, I would say, reasonable condition. It's got a few scuffs on it here and there. There is a foot missing on the corner there, but I've got a foot that I'm going to put on. See, there's a bit of vinyl gone there. It's not too bad, but it could do with some TLC, the actual case. This one has got 2 speakers in which work both channels, and it sounds really good actually. When I got this, it had no bass and treble EQ knobs there at all, so I actually 3D printed some, and they look pretty okay, I think. This is a non-Dolby version with no MPX. I've got another one of these which is Dolby and MPX, but in fact apparently the Dolby, I never use Dolby, and the Dolby actually detracts a lot from the sound quality. So I never use Dolby DBX or anything, so this is probably a better sounding one than the one I actually personally own. But it's in pretty good condition. I mean, there's no marks on the front here. I mean, this is really good condition here. No scratches or anything. Missing screw there, but I've got them. I'm still servicing it, so I'm still going to put the screws in. When I received this, the auto stop was disabled. This comes down and against this post and it auto stops. It was disabled by the BBC, and they actually put this piece of, it looks like heat shrink or something on here. There was no guide there, so this is a brand new guide I've put in there. There's no head cover, so I've actually taken the time to 3D print this in CAD-CAM, and it's pretty good actually. The heads on this model, apparently this particular one, according to the serial number, is a 7622H, which is 2 speaker amplifier with 2 speakers in, and 2 channels, so it's a half track deck, high speed. But the BBC has swapped this around, as well as disabling this originally, which is now fully enabled. They fitted 4-track heads to it, which I prefer actually, 4-track heads. My own personal one's got 4-track heads, and I prefer that because the sound quality is superb anyway. Why you would want 2-track, it's beyond me really. You can use both sides of the tape on 4-track, and with sound quality this good, you don't really need that really, in my opinion anyway. What else? These knobs that you see here, these aren't original. These are actually Series 7 knobs. They're not the original ones, but the ones that were put on there by the BBC is this, and this is, I don't know what this is, but it's not obviously, it's a long way from the original. And these knobs were put on plastic, just not good. So it looks 100 times better than it was. Obviously the idlers on this had completely gone, completely rotted, and also the pinch roller is in terrible state. So this is actually a new pinch roller here. It's using new rubbers, so that should never go, never wear out really. The idlers as well are reclaimed idlers, and the rubber on those doesn't go off either, so it's perfectly all right. It wasn't working at all when I got it. Now it's working perfectly. with no issues. Everything is working as it should. The brakes have been sorted. Everything's just been cleaned, adjusted, lubricated, everything. So it's going well for quite a while. Now remember, the top's off of this, so I'll show you here. These outputs here are actually 1/4 inch outputs, and I don't actually currently have any 1/4 inch jacks. I have 6.3 inch jacks, which sorry, 6.25 is it, inch jacks, which is the metric equivalent, and it's not the same head as a 1/4 inch head, so I'm not getting very good results from using that. So what I've actually done is I've got a lead made up here with stereo ends that works pretty well. I'm going to have a look and see if I can maybe replace these jacks before I put it on sale to more modern 6.25 inch, sorry, 6.25 millimeter jacks rather than these old 1/4 inch, because the modern head just won't fit in there. Look, this is a 6.25 millimeter head, but the head on a 1/4 inch is a slightly different shape, and for some reason it doesn't fit in there, because these would have been originally 1/4 inch jacks, and they're quite tight tolerance in there. So there we go. This is all as it should be. I'm going to take this off here. There we go. As you can see, written on the heads is when these heads were actually replaced, and that's in 1990. The condition of the heads, I'm still let's cover actually. The condition of the heads is quite good. I mean, there's some wear on there, but it's not too bad. I mean, to re-lap those heads would cost 50 quid basically, to have them re-lapped, and I could probably do that for the prospective buyer. Obviously I wouldn't pay for that, they'd have to pay me 50 quid, but to re-lap them is 50 quid. But they're pretty good, they sound good, and they're not certainly not badly worn. I've had a lot of heads through here, had them re-lap when they've been badly worn, but these aren't badly worn, so they don't really need it really. But if anyone sort of wants them done, they can be done quite easily by a company locally to here actually. I can get them done if needs be, but they're not, they're little, they show signs of wear, but they're not worn out by any means. They've got plenty of life left in them. Just being transparent by saying these things. I think looks really good. So anyway, the fastest speed on this, by the way, because it's modified by the BBC, is 7.5 inches per second. So this does, the 3 speeds this does is 7.5, 3 3/4, and 1 7/8. And 1 7/8 is a really old style speed. But to be honest with you, I've owned quite a lot of 15 IPS machines, and I mean, they eat tape like nobody's business. I mean, a 5-inch reel, you can forget it. You get about 1 song on there, or 2 songs maximum. 7-inch, about 3 or 4 songs if you're lucky, and 10-inch, you can probably get an LP's worth on a 10-inch at 15. But the sound quality, particularly on these Ferrographs, the sound quality between the 15 and the 7.5 is so minimal that I don't bother with the 15. It's just a waste of tape. And my own personal Ferrograph, which wasn't modified by the BBC, is a 15, but I never use it. I never use 15 because it's, I don't know, it's not much different. I think to appreciate 15 IPS, you have to have something like a really modern machine, something like a Fostex B16, that's more modern. Also a fantastic multi-track is the Tascam TSR8. That is just brilliant as well. And you can notice, obviously that's only 15 IPS, but you would be able to tell the difference on machines like that between 7.5 and 15, because the electronics are so refined and so good. That's not saying these Ferrographs sound bad. They don't. They just they're so good. They just really sound a lot better than any Revox that I've ever heard. Any Akai, anything really that I've heard. Tascam, TIAC, or TIAC rather. Tascam, TSR8 sound quality just has the edge, but construction and reliability, these definitely are better than anything. They really are very reliable. I mean, you can virtually leave them in a ditch for years, come back to them, replace the idlers and the pinch rollers, and they work fine. They're just so well made. I mean, obviously the back's off here. I could show you the boards in there, but the boards have all got interchangeable, commonly available components. There's no surface mounted ICs that are discontinued or anything. They completely work on them. They're really well laid out. I think Revox copied Ferrograph. Revox were one of the companies that destroyed Ferrograph basically, as well as Tascam. But Revox, I think they copied Ferrograph in that all the boards are separate and modular, whereas in the Revox they plug in and plug out, whereas the Ferrographs, they're soldered in, which is a lot better idea because of oxidation and stuff like that. I could go on all night about these. I just love Ferrograph, I really do. And I will be selling an S7 at some point. I've got an S7 to sell as well, and that just takes 7-inch reels, up to 7-inch. This takes all sizes of reels. So if you like your big reeled machines, this is the one to go for. Obviously it's extremely heavy, and mind you, the 7-inch version is really heavy because they're made brilliantly. I mean, the workmanship in these and the quality of construction is second to none. And obviously this features the bias for each channel. So any tape that you put in there, any formulation, you just look up in the chart what the biasing should be, and there's one in the manual for these, and you can set the record biasing for every tape you use and individual tapes you use, and it's so easy. Just need a little trim pot, can set it for each channel. It displays the bias on the VU meters, and it's something that takes about 2 minutes or less than that. For every tape you use, so you can get perfect recordings. The other brilliant thing about these is the variable wind speed, and basically you can get a great pancake with a variable wind speed. No other machine that I know of apart from the Ferrograph Series 7 has that. Maybe some of the really high-end Ampex and Studas have that, but I don't think so. I've not seen it personally. And as for the bias being set up on the front panel like that, then you have to go to truly high-end professional machines to see anything like that. So it's pretty amazing machine really. But anyway, it sounds like this. so that's a demo. As you saw while I was playing that, I was demonstrating. I mean, it took a long time to do this on CAD CAM. My wife does all the CAD CAM. I measured the original cover, which is this one off of my my own model, which I showed you at the end there, and took precise measurements with a vernier caliper, and my wife did that on CAD CAM, so she's done a really good job. And what we did, because Letraset rubs off easily, we actually embossed this so it's actually protruding by 1 mil. The Logic, we did try and print that, but it didn't come out very well. It was in this sort of font as well, this italic. It didn't come out very well, so I had to scrub that off. It doesn't really need it. I could actually attempt to print another head cover with that Logic in, if that makes any difference. But I think it's come out pretty well. The knobs totally non-standard before, so these ones are printed as well. But they look pretty good. I've painted them in acrylic grey colour. I could get some engine aluminium to make them look even better, but I just haven't got any of those knobs in at the moment, so I can't replace them with originals. As I said, this knob, and this knob are not standard. They're from the ordinary Series 7. I don't have any more of these knobs in stock, but yeah, apart from that, it's absolutely fine. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks a lot.